Okay, so I'm going to talk about racism in King County, Washington. In the inauguration of 2008 of President Barack Obama, four black people were murdered and shot to death by the Tacoma Police Department. Four black people were murdered and shot to death in the King County Police Department. That makes eight people for the number, the equivalency of the 2008, in exchange for the presidency of Barack Obama being president, as a message to the black people, which is a code in secrecy, which I'll go into because there's some deep things that people need to know. So, anything concerning racism. So, now, if you guys don't know, the state of Washington made history for the most killing and beating amongst black people by the police departments, which was racial discrimination, racial profiling to its highest extent, where it brought Barack Obama to try to cool things down because the fire things got so hot, which the police still ignored. And we're talking about King County. So the racial profiling was just out of control. Okay, so now my daughter, she moves to King County 2021. So she goes to the WIC offices, her and my other daughter. We get there and a lady says, she says, "Oh, I hate black churches. I hate black children. And I hate to give resources to black children and the church and anyone that's goes to a black church." And then she started going on ranting and raving about how she hate the black churches, that how she would come to any black church and burn it down. And she also bragged about her white privilege as to for 6 years that she erased civil rights complaints. She's erased NAACP complaints of black people, and she's taken homes for them. So she just goes on ranting and ranting and ranting. So I sit there and I look at her, and she says to me, "Your two children, to my daughter and to me, they're not getting any WIC because I hate the black church. So any resources that you want for them, they will not get. I will make it my business to do that to you and other church people specifically." So I didn't say nothing to her. I just looked at her. So when my daughter went back again, which is the second year, which is this year, she said, "They're not getting anything. They black and they go to the black church." In slavery, they hated black churches and they hated black ministers. So I'm looking at her. I was like, so obviously she has a problem. So time went on. My daughter gets spit on her door. She gets spit in the hallway and nigger and spit on the door. So we filed a complaint for that. So after that, my daughter, something faulty in the electrical. That's why I'm making this video. And the my daughter has no lights. She has no heat. Nothing is working. So her manager, or the manager, which was the property manager of her apartment, tells her, um, she throws all the complaints and all the stuff for the repairs in the trash. So my daughter then run an extension cord across to get lights and power and heat in her apartment, which is an 8-story building. So then we even contact to the people over her. Still, my daughter stays in her apartment with no lights, no heat, and the electrical with a extension cord running from one apartment to the next. And the manager knows this for 6 months. So she has to file a complaint to the city. Then she stays after you file a complaint to the city. Then the manager still doesn't want to do anything for her. During this time, a private person came into her apartment complex. I think they gave her like $2 million, but they gave it all in cashier's vouchers for November and Thanksgiving to give to the tenant. Guess what the manager does? The manager keeps the money for herself, gives certain tenants only about 4 or 5 vouchers that come from that private entity, and the people who own the building never knows the money was given to them. So she walks away with free probably $1 million or more. But the people who that she's working for never knows because it was a private entity that gave the money during coronavirus. My daughter gets nothing. So my daughter doesn't have a Christmas because she sends all the stuff back and everything, all her stimulus is back. So my daughter don't have no Christmas or nothing because of her property manager. We're talking about King County, Washington. And the police department, They profile the black people, and I've watched them. And they go to every black man that has a wife and children, and they just circle and profile their car, and circle. And if you go to the white side, they don't do that. Everybody, they can park wherever they want to park. They don't get tickets. Black people get tickets every day. I seen 4 police officers change different cars, and certain men that have women and children, they circle and circle and circle and circle their car. Now I'm seeing this. So I'm seeing the racism and the onslaught of the devil of the police department and their diabolical racism that's to its highest profiling, and the hate in them, and to where they would just take everything for black people to kill and murder them. And it's still going on. King County. And it's horrible. If you I taped a couple of tapes seeing how the hate of the King County Police Department toward black people. A white man spit in a black woman's face. 3 white police officers did nothing. Nothing. He did not go to jail. But they was going to take the black woman to jail, and they was finna jump on her and beat her up. February 2021, coronavirus. At the same time, Tacoma Police Department, they locked up every black person that was low income, that they had a familiar face that they knew. Facts. You can look them up by name over small things. It wasn't nothing big, it was small things. Anything they can find. And Puyallup was even worse. Any black face that was a certain dark skin color, Puyallup picked up from the store, or they pointed out. These are people that they have history of, you guys, or they knew that they had single mothers at home. What I see the police department, single mother parents, they profile the most, or they try to kill their son that tries to help, or their father that tries to take care of his kids. This is the low down dirty things police departments is do, and it's very, very low down. But I'm gonna tell you some of their secrets, because a lady gave me some letters, you guys, a white lady, to read, and I'm gonna read it. But one thing I'm not gonna read is where their secret societies are located in Washington. She wanted me to read those things, but I'm not gonna do that. But she told me that something they done to her, and she wanted to pay it back. But I'm gonna go into the information she gave me. I'll be back. Stay tuned.